Welcome to the Seventh Sense podcast. This is a space to explore, reflect, and share.
Open conversations for the heart, mind, and soul.
Hello everyone, my name is Edna Njeri.
My name is Eugenia Shaga.
And welcome back to the Seventh Sense podcast. How was your week?
My week was actually really good. Work things were actually panning out. Creatively things were working. There's a part of the week where it wasn't the best day. And it just taught me how to, I'm always here screaming communicate, but it taught me how I still need to work on my communication and how I communicate to the people who actually care about me and who are actually there for me. So that I learned about myself. It's just being put in check in terms of growth and in self-improvement. But all in all, it was a good week. I'm happy. I'm grateful. Yeah. How was your week?
It was a mix. It was up and down. I think seeing all the loss on social media is a thing. Seeing all the people grieving and all the RIP stuff is a thing that's been so loud this week. But personally, I had a good week. I took some time off at the beginning of the week, which allowed me to just come back better and also allowed me to plan content and towards the end of the week I was able to really pick up on work. I also had some hard conversations this week, which was interesting. But something that I was thinking about this week, because I listened to a podcast episode, was compromise versus sacrifice. And how sometimes when you think you have a boundary, it could actually be a trauma response. It's granted your mind, your body, your nervous system, everything wants to protect you, but sometimes your boundaries that you've created based off a trauma response could actually hurt you more than they could heal you. You could be blocking love out.
Yeah.
And hurting yourself when you think you're protecting yourself.
Okay.
Because this girl, she's talking about how, based on her experiences with her family growing up and everything, she has I wouldn't say negative, but she's not big on family. She's not oh, I want to have kids. She always was I don't want to have kids. She stayed single intentionally for years and celibate, and she just wasn't about that life.
Yeah.
And then now she's in a relationship with a partner who is so family oriented.
Wow.
And he's I want you to meet my parents. I want you to
Yeah.
I'll be on FaceTime with my grandma. I want you to say hi. I want us to go for this person's birthday.
It's so different.
So for her, she was she had a wall up. And in her mind, it was a boundary, but it was just a trauma response based on her experience with family.
So in that,
she's learning to
in that experience, and from your understanding, so is it a compromise or a sacrifice to be with that person?
I don't think it's either. I think it was just she has to compromise. I think she has to compromise,
it's a compromise
on her boundaries. It's not a sacrifice.
So what's a sacrifice?
Sacrifice, it implies that one of you is losing out on something. And in that situation, no one is losing out on anything.
Okay, I get.
Compromise is just her being okay, this was based off my experience with my family, but now if we are going to step forward and have our own family, I need to be able to at least open up a bit. And now she said spending time with his family. Anyway, yeah, it was a good week. I would say it was an 8.5 out of 10 type of week. Something that happened this week was the new restrictions. How are you feeling about that?
For me, it's just kind of for me personally, it's just means I go to the office less. It means people are home more. In my opinion, I feel it's all a repeat of last year, but my circumstances have changed. So last year, when the lockdown happened, I was just in the house way more. Now it's just it's going to touch on my work. It's going to touch on my deliverables when it comes to that. I don't know. It's I'm anxious, but at the same time, I'm just if we made it through last year with everything that happened, so we're just going to make it through. I'm just going to take more time, I think, for just getaways and just being able to go away for maybe a weekend and just reflect, have time for that, because I also want to take a bit more time off social media for this one. Because I'm feeling it's a lot more of, it's going to be a mixed bag of people's opinions, how they feel, the talk.
I'm just the people who are talking should not be talking.
Yeah.
And the people who have everything to say about this lockdown
and the guys who are
the ones who have been at every single event.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, for me that's it. I just want to stay off a bit social media. Have a bit more time to like center myself, just to know just to hear myself a bit more through all this. My heart goes out to the people who like actually work in like restaurants and in bars, try the hospitality industry. My heart goes out to them. I mean, and it's like a repeat of last year. So when you thought things were actually getting good, here you are again. I feel bad because it's like, what can you really do?
Yeah.
So I think for me is that I want to be able to actually to, if it's possible, like, you know, just go like to children's homes.
I don't think they're allowing visitors.
Even just to donate. I feel like I just want to be able to do more just to
but
give.
It's so weird. Like, it would always be
You want to be able to go and actually
and
view the
see
kids.
them, but now it's like you leave it at the gate. Some of them don't even let you into the gate.
Yeah.
It's just too high risk.
So yeah, how is it making you feel?
It's the same for me actually. It's a mixed feelings of like, I'm happy because I feel like it was necessary to some extent because people just have not been taking their responsibility upon themselves. But at the same time, like the economic impact, the hospitality industry, it's going to be tough for them, especially because the price of everything is going up. Fuel, everything, like fuel means everything.
Facts.
So yeah, I definitely feel for business owners. But I think it was necessary because hopefully within the next, I would say 2 months or so, we'll see a decline in the number of cases. Because I feel like now because of yesterday, in the next 2 weeks, we're definitely going to have a lot of cases. So hopefully after that, it can go down. Because yesterday, everyone was like, we have to do this one last time.
The last supper type shit, yeah.
Everyone's like wilding. So I feel like the next 2 weeks will be really crazy in terms of the cases. But I hope that, for me,
it became a thing when I started like seeing people from work now, like the frequency of the people who are actually testing positive. I was just like, that's
people,
insane.
Because previously, like I would say this month is the first month I've known people, or I've even been, like, people in my family have been exposed to people who have had COVID. Yeah. Luckily, none of them tested positive, but it's the first time since last year that I've ever known anyone who's had corona. So it's like.
So you're gonna get the vaccine?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Thinking about it. Okay, cool. So for this week, our questions are, the first question is, would you rather lose all your memories from birth to now, or your ability to make new long-term memories?
That's tricky. You go first.
I would rather lose my ability to make new long-term memories. Because I feel like, to me, my childhood memories are so precious, and I feel like the people I've lost and everything, I can't, like, not being able to remember any of that. I feel like that's just how I've been made me. And then also it would make me now, it would almost force me to be more present, because now it's like you have to just experience this, because you don't know if you're gonna, once it's done, it's done. So definitely I'd rather lose the ability.
That's crazy, because I was gonna say the opposite, because I feel like childhood memories, yes, that I cherish them, but I feel like that's already how I am right now. Like, I think we've done an episode on this one, like looking back, like memories like from childhood, how much can you remember? Mine is just like bits and pieces here, so I feel like I'm already living like that. So mine would be I think I'd pick just being able to, is it to make new long-term memories?
Yeah,
I think to make new ones, because I feel like I'm also
so you'd rather lose all your previous memories and have the ability to make new ones?
Yeah.
Mad. Okay, cool. Second question. What habit do you think is overrated? Like, everyone's like, this is a good habit. Which one of those do you think is really overrated?
Good, bad, or just
overrated?
You go. I feel like you already have an answer to it.
I think working hard is overrated. Working hard in the sense that you have to give all your time and energy to like a corporation or a business. And you need to like really become like sort of a slave in order to success. Like, you really have to do success to succeed. I think there's working harder than working smart. Like, you can really have passive income, which is not dependent on your input on a day-to-day basis for you to make money. I feel like working hard is overrated.
It's overrated. I think being, quote unquote, being cool is overrated, or like just fitting in, hella overrated. And I feel like it's just, we're all unique, so just being able to be comfortable in your own skin, allows you to just be able to tap into your purpose, what you came here to do. I wouldn't get lost in trying to be something that you're not. Yeah.
Okay. So for this episode, we're going to be talking about relationships, our relationship with society. First things first, what is a society? So by looking at like a typical dictionary definition, a society is a body of individuals living as members of a community.
I was just going to say, like, society is like when you open your door for your house, whatever you find out there, that's society.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
True. So it's like basically all your other relationships, because we've done everything from
Yourself.
to family, to friends, to partners, so now everyone else is
Yeah.
now what we're going to be talking about in this episode. So what role do you think society has played in your view of relationships?
It varies. So depending on what I'm being shown. So if it's, how would I put this? Like if it's a relationship between like siblings, if it's something I've seen from other households, and then I'm trying to like take that example, try and bring it back home. It's a mixed bag depending on what I'm trying to look at in terms of society. But generally it's taught me this thing about how, and it's something I stick to, just be the change you want to see in the world. So if you want to see people being more compassionate when you go to interact with other people outside, if you're not really seeing it, then you add that like to the scene of what you're actually seeing. So it just taught me to bring more to the table than what I'm actually seeing if I want things to change. I think that's what it's taught me the most. Yeah.
Okay, what you're saying makes sense, because like your personality is like socialized into you.
Yeah.
To growing up, you interact with people, then you see what's like normal, quote unquote. And also something I realized is how we're socialized as kids directly affects your attachment style.
Facts.
So if you're not able to develop like stable, ongoing relationships with one caregiver as a child, moving out into like now other people,
yeah,
it's not gonna translate. Like you can't.
I mean, I see it, and it's especially if you had the opportunity of being or having a help in the house as you grew up. It taught me this thing about this is an individual who I'm not bound to like by blood or by just any relations, but they're giving you care, they're looking out for you. So it taught me, okay, fine, so outside my parents there's actually people who can actually take care of you and look out for you,
on them,
So it just taught me there's more to so outside my parents there's actually other caregivers who can give you the same amount of care. And it teaches this thing about, I think, trust. So you can actually trust someone else outside your family. Yeah.
So then if you're not like having that experience, then you feel, if like children who've gone through dealt with abuse or have been abandoned, when they in their homes, when they come into society,
they can't trust it.
Your view on relationships is just completely different. So how about like your relationship with yourself? How do you think society has impacted how your relationship with yourself works?
I think teenage years, only through adolescence, because you're really still trying to find yourself and know yourself, you really end up wanting to copy paste. What you're seeing is like cool, what's in, what's acceptable, what people are actually drawn to. So I feel like you end up losing a bit of yourself. So you don't really end up having a conscious relationship with yourself. You just end up being like a chameleon trying to fit into different spots.
Yeah.
The older I got, the more I became aware of my own uniqueness and what that actually brings to the table, even just as a collective consciousness. How my thoughts, my unique thoughts, my abilities will have a ripple effect in terms of just changing how people are perceived and what's acceptable, what's not. I think it's morphed to a point where now, the older I am, the wiser I've gotten. Humble brag. But just allows me to know, okay, fine, I'm enough as I am. So I think it allows me to have a more tapped in relationship with myself, I'd say.
Yeah, I like what you said about perception, because the way you perceive yourself is impacted by society.
For sure.
And it varies based on which society you grew up.
Yeah.
Because each society has different standards on beauty, weight, color, skin color, like everything. So there's like colorism that people experience
Facts.
depending on what skin tone they are in which society. There's fat or skinny shaming. Have you had any experience with any of these, like, societal expectations? Or actually, let's just say the physical, and then we can do like the societal expectations of men and women.
Physical, like how I am.
I've been skinny shamed, like eat more, need to eat type thing, because, African
I mean, yeah,
standards,
because
blah, blah, blah.
especially, having older brothers who, like, growing up, I mean, of course they're bigger than you, but then you're just like a skinny boy. So there was that. Mine had a lot to do with my tooth. So I'd really like smile or like laugh out loud because guys would make fun of it, and so I used to be like. So I think when J. Cole like dropped Crooked Smile, me was like me, I'm inside like, yeah, fuck everybody else. There's that. There's the. I think also just growing up like where I grew up, just not having to have like grown up in Nairobi and then not having experienced the things people experience in Nairobi. Going into high school, because now you're meeting with people who maybe have grown up in different places. They'll talk about all these different things. So I felt it in terms of not gentrified, but just you didn't grow up around the hoods we grew up in.
Yeah,
there was that. But basically, I think that's the only times I feel like I felt like, okay, fine. Society has put this like bar,
expectation of how you need to look or
and
be,
then
and then
if I'm not touching it, it's just.
And then it changes now as you grow up, because now as an adult, it's like different things expected of men and women.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that I've seen, especially now that I'm like building my career and everything, is the way women are expected to be like, you're supposed to have a career and be like a badass at it, but not too bossy and not too much. Like you need to still be like a lady and still be nice about it. Like, like you should be a badass career woman, but not like that, like this.
Literally, there was like some research I was doing for Women's Day. I think it was a segment about like women in like big commanding positions talking about their experiences. And I think one lady, and I love it because she was like an African American, and she was saying, people say I'm loud, oh, I'm aggressive, but she's just like, but that's just how I am. I'm not even aggressive. I just like things a certain way. And I think men feel what's the word? Not minimized. Like you feel like they are being, what's the word? I don't even know the word I'm trying to look for.
Threatened or what?
Threatened.
Yeah.
By her it's for them literally. A woman behaving like a man, not even behaving like a man, a woman just being herself and being assertive. And commanding like
a position or
exactly. Then having to take orders from her.
Oh my god.
Like I don't know why men feel like that's scary.
It's literally the TED talk for Chimamanda that Beyonce used in Flawless. Like you can have ambition, but not too much. Otherwise you'll intimidate the man. And it's like,
it's crazy. And I think it's I think I've been lucky to have, or even with work experience, managers who I've experienced have always been like women. Commercial directors I've experienced have been women. So I think I've just grown accustomed to knowing this is dope, because I think it's women have this like tenderness still, even in these positions of power. So they're able to treat you like as a human being, as opposed to a guy who's in the same role who will just look at you as a machine. You're a cog in a wheel, and then keep this thing moving.
Yeah.
It's been nice because they humanize the whole professional experience. I feel like men it's mechanical. And so yeah, I've really enjoyed just seeing women in power and just being like, mad. Same thing goes to you. I think it's how you approach your work and how serious you take it and how you lean on yourself. That's really like, it's so empowering. I'm always just like, mad when I grow up. So I think, I don't think it's 2021. I don't think men should be threatened about women who actually just want more for themselves and are working towards wanting more, and have done their work to ensure that they're actually in a position where you can't force them. You just look at the numbers. You just can't.
What experiences have you had, like in terms of what society views a man as, that you don't agree with?
Like I think a man is supposed to be like good at everything. Like you can't fail. So I look at my position in terms of like even like, so we were first like job, I was the only guy in the whole like business development team. And so it was that whole moniker. They're just like, oh, but you know, these ladies are selling. They're selling more than you're doing. You should be able to do it like better than them. So in my mind, I was just like, that has nothing to do with
gender,
anything here. Yeah, it's someone's ability. So that got to me. I think it's that. It's or certain positions can, like men will always succeed in an office because just by virtue that you're a man, you have this like free pass to always like rise through the ranks.
Because the other men will help you rise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've always felt like that's the thing I've seen. Like I've not actually sat back and actually thought about my experiences in terms of, oh, as a man, this thing has happened to me and it shouldn't be like that. But I've seen
like,
it.
Yeah, there's so many, even with people who are like in motherhood, you see how moms expected like their body to like go back to how it was before they gave birth, or like be the perfect mom, and you've never had a kid before, like you're still, this is your first kid,
you're learning.
The house should always still be perfect, you should still be the best wife and the best, like so many expectations that are just unrealistic. Like you can't, one person can't do everything. I
think it's the I don't know how to look at it or how to put it, but it's the whole thing that our homes responsibilities or financial responsibilities all fall on the man. Is a breadwinner. I feel that's facts, but it shouldn't be to the point where that he even takes the position of, even if the woman is working and maybe even earning way more than the guy is earning, he still wants to sit back and take the position of, I'm the breadwinner, just because society says I'm the head of the household.
Yeah,
it's something I've seen. It's the man still wants to hold the throne, and he's not
he
really
doesn't deserve it.
Exactly. I feel like it's in a household, it should be able to be your equals. Doesn't matter what anybody's doing, how much anybody's earning.
Have the discussion also in advance. So it's like, maybe you legit want to be a housewife. That's totally cool. Like really cool. But maybe I don't want to be a housewife for sure. So there's certain expectations that just will not work with what my vision is for my life.
Yeah. Or even that whole thing of the father has to be the toughest amongst like both, between the woman, the mother and the father. The father has to be the toughest, the most strict one. I feel like it's just the good cop, bad cop, that shit. I mean, it's old. Right now, it's I think I experienced it maybe once in a relationship that you have to pay for everything. So when you go for dates, when you go out to eat, when you go to drink, whatever you're doing, you're supposed to pick up the bill all the time. My mind, I've always just been like, it's if one of us is working, then cool, that kind of makes sense. But if you're both like earning, have that discussion. It shouldn't be like it's a silent thing, that a silent responsibility that falls on the guy. If he's willing, if he wants to do it, cool.
And if you expect it as a lady, just say it in advance. You just leave.
Exactly. So I've always been like, it's most of these things. Bless you. Nah, but you see that thing you're saying, is it a thing of society also saying? I mean, if that's how the shorty wants to move, then cool.
You know, tell him in advance. Don't let you now pull up to the restaurant and then start wilding once he's like, like have that discussion in advance of what your expectations are on this date.
Facts.
But I think also the thing people usually say is, if the guy asks you out on a first date, he should pay for everything.
No, that's granted. First date, cool. Me, I'm saying all the time. That's my thing.
Remember, we're seeing those TikToks of the girl who's like, I expect this, I expect that. Those can be expectations, cool, but state them. So that
at least have that
opt
discussion.
in or not.
So yeah, so me, it's that one. If you haven't really had a conversation about it, I just find it weird sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it. I mean, cool, you can do it. I can handle it. But it's just the silent expectation.
It makes it weird.
Yeah, I'm just like.
Okay, so in society, there's like just different types of, I don't know, relationships or interactions that come up. So at work, with your colleagues or your mentors, at school, with your peers. Like in academia, you have, some universities have like, you're in a class and you guys do all your lectures together and then you graduate. In others, you're mixed with different people, but even in that case, you still have group work. So there's still that
dynamic
interaction that comes up. At home, nannies, security, house managers, whatever it may be, and then on the day-to-day with people who provide services like waiters at restaurants and all that. So then how do you manage, or how do you like approach these relationships with the people who offer services to you? Like, what are the 1, 2, 3 things you would say that are like guiding forces when it comes to these interactions?
I always say, be kind, be polite. It doesn't matter who they are. It's something maybe I was taught like from when I was young. It's just like these people deserve as same respect you give to your boss, to your parents. Just give them that same amount of respect. I think I've always enjoyed and I think mine is just experiences growing up. I remember when I was maybe in class 2, class 3, we had this security guard, and I think this is when I started to understand these guys are actually it's a person, and then they have feelings, they go through things. So he used to come, and in his quarters, he had a place where he used to stash core. You remember core? The 2 green sweets. So he used to stash them. I remember every time he'd come, Gioni, he'd come and give me 1 core, he takes another one, and then he'd tell me, yes, chase a ball, and we'd play soccer with him in the evenings. So he'd be 15 minutes I get to play with him, and then he's like, all right, cool, I'll see you. That really allowed me to see that you can actually have a bond with this person, and they have no need to actually really care about you the way they're caring about you. So I started understanding, okay, fine, how about you actually meet them 80% of the way? This girl was meeting me maybe 100%. Me, I had no, why? So 100%. So I say meet them 100% on this other side, because you might be the person who changes how their day went,
right?
How they feel about themselves, and they can feel comfortable in the time where they need help and no one else, they don't even know who to approach. At least they feel comfortable enough to come and ask you.
Talk to you,
yeah, about it. So I think it's something I've experienced is just meet them 100% of the way.
I definitely agree. It's the respect, and it's the just human decency.
Yeah.
This person is at work.
Yeah.
They're doing this to provide for themselves. You understand, being an adult, you understand what that means.
Yeah.
So you don't need to make it hard for them.
Exactly.
Even be it at home. If you're an adult, you can pick up after yourself. You don't need to give them all the work. You can, if they did the dishes and the dishes are done, you can do your dishes after that. Things like that.
Yeah.
You don't need to make it hard for them. And also, especially if you're an adult, it's just it's a bit weird. Yeah.
I think if it's someone in the service industry, at a restaurant or a hotel, since they wear name tags, I really try and call them by their names. I think it's a bit more human as opposed to, I find it rude and get 6.
Oh my God.
That
it's
thing.
2021. Please.
I'm always just fuck out of here.
That's so
They
weird.
have a name. And in a way, in a position, even still tip. If you can. I feel it's...
People say in
nice.
Kenya they don't do it because
they have a service charge. Yeah, but I'm always just if you can, just...
And if you genuinely enjoyed the experience,
why not? I think it's that whole thing of, there's a service charge. I feel it's an excuse for you just not to do it.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say maybe you don't have to, but do it if you want to. I'm not saying you have to do it. I mean, there are times even I haven't done it, but
then also when these people have crossed boundaries with you, or have done something wrong, or something that they should not have done, or a misstep, how do you usually handle that? It's a waiter or the watchman.
So I won't lie to you. Before, I used to be avoid confrontation.
Same. I always used to be paranoid that they're gonna spit in my food, so I'll just eat it and take it. I'm not gonna. There's no need to.
Same.
And I always used to feel so weird.
Fucked up the order. I'll still eat that food. I'm just be you know what, cool. I don't even want to say anything about it. But that's what a healthy way of trying to approach it. Then I start thinking, man, if I tell them to take this dish back, then the manager's gonna tell them they have to pay for this meal, and then it's just gonna be docked off their salary. I start going off, and I'm why am I so invested in what's gonna happen to them? But I think it speaks a lot. So I always say, keep your cool. Just don't start shouting, being aggressive.
People
I feel
who
that's
shout
what
at waiters
or anybody. So especially with an Uber driver.
Yeah.
I try and have conversations with them just to remind me that nothing about Sonda. Everybody has a complex life that they come from and the experience. So it's a whole being. The same way you have your own life and you're the center of it. He's the center of his own world. Mm-hmm. So that reminds me, even if something happens within the trip or just anything, that reminds me, this is another human being like you, Shaga. So how you talk to them just think about it. That's how he was talk to you. If you're in that position that he's working in, how would you feel about that? So I always try and like catch myself in, like, with that type of a question is, how would I feel if they're the ones who are talking to me and I'm the one who's offering them a service?
I feel like you're super nice. I mean, I agree with you, but I feel like you're super nice. So, because sometimes I feel like, specifically to watchmen, they can be really annoying. How do you deal with the annoying one? Like, they can just... I don't know if that... I don't know. If it's just
Okay,
them
but
being
what's the
oblivious.
annoying thing that they do? Like
In
an
the
example.
comments,
Like an example.
they
What's an
make-
annoying thing that they've said? Just one. Are you talking
Like-
about security guys, like when you're getting to a mall, just in general?
mostly usually like at apartments.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just like even the way they approach you,
Yeah.
it's already hostile, like from the jump, and it's like,
Okay, well, like, to that times I go off, and the times, and me, when I get irritated, I just keep quiet. Or you can just look in my face, you can tell, and yes, he's pushed me. So I'm not always nice. But I think it's, when I get to that point, I just prefer to be, just kill them with kindness at this point now. So if you're hostile, I'll just be also now an extra level of just kind, just to show you there's no need for all of this, like, right now. It's not easy, especially some of them who you don't even know how their days. Example, like when we were coming in, you can just look at the person, you can tell, and yeah, they don't
"You're not
having a good day. But I'm not gonna try and make it worse for you.
Yeah, this is just what I try to do is I just remind myself this is a momentary interaction. This
Yes.
is not gonna last more than
So is it
5
worth
minutes.
me
I
being
can just
upset?
is it worth my whole day at tea? Now I'm mad. Just keep it in
Yeah.
and just get through this as seamlessly as possible. And
Yeah.
just keep it moving.
I think saying please, thank you
yeah,
goes along. I think they
magic
also
words.
get shocked. Yeah, they're just like, oh damn, okay, cool. At least they get to remember you. So next time they know, okay, fine. I don't even need to be all the
So
way like,
extra.
yeah, just
And also sometimes you find that like you're nice to them and then they even like taken aback and then now they even start being nice to you.
you're like, oh damn.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so let's now flip the table to when you're offering the service, like at work. Because like what just happened, you got called, it's a Saturday.
Yeah.
So there's usually that balance between you're upholding the professionalism and the
Yeah.
excellence, but you're also managing the boundary of where you feel like you're being exploited to some extent, or this is not like your docket.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes maybe you haven't been paid on time, or you haven't, like you're not supposed to be doing this, but now
But
you're being
still
told to
doing
do
it.
this.
Yeah. I struggle with that.
Same.
And sometimes you call me out sometimes when it comes to, you're not supposed to be doing that, you're not supposed to be worrying about that, so why are
Yeah.
you even worrying about that, Shaga? I think by virtue of, one, being a Libra, two, being a last born, I've always just learned how to do everything myself. Like, oh, I come and ask you, oh, would you mind helping me, da-da-da, and you're just like, oh no, I can't. I'm like, bet, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. So I end up having to do like so many different roles, and it's not really within even what I'm required to be doing.
I feel like where they get you is that whole we're family,
Teamwork.
business, we are teamwork. But you have to be like, no, business is business. It's not our personal, this is not my company.
Yeah,
If you left tomorrow, they would replace you
easily.
Not bat an eyelid. Today, no one would cry.
Yeah.
No one would be losing any sleep. So what I found helped actually through TikTok on my burner
TikTok.
account. There's that babe who does the HR videos.
Okay, cool.
And she always talks about issues like, for example, if your boss is giving you multiple tasks without adjusting deadlines, how do you communicate that? And she's like, you ask for clarification on which one you should prioritize. Things like that,
Yeah.
where you're able to keep it professional, but still maintain that healthy, like, I can't do all these 15 things in one
Yeah.
day. So which one would you like me to prioritize? So it still feels respectful, like you still have the control, but
Yeah.
I'm still just going to be able to do one thing at a time.
So I think by the nature of like my job, like you're saying, if it's a Saturday I'm gonna be called, I feel like I'll be called at any time. And since I'm like doing client management, I'd have to ensure that I actually do it. I can't sit back being like, hey, it's a Saturday, I won't do it.
No, yeah, you have to do it.
But it's that thin line of being able to also let them understand that it can't be a regular thing. So if it's an emergency, cool, I will sort it out the once.
Yeah.
But let's not leave that door open to now at any time you feel
It's
like...
you who's the point of contact.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like it's the thing of delegation where it's like if your responsibility is, for example, social media, and my responsibility is not social media, then I shouldn't be handling the social media things.
Yeah.
You should be handling social media things, and I can help you.
Yeah.
But I can also tell you no when it's become a habit now. Like,
I think it's with you, and it's something, again, it's how serious you take your job and how much you just want to make sure everything has worked out and has been done to almost damn near perfection. There are people who will take advantage of that. So they know, even if I slack, Edna will do it.
I'll do it, but I'll take your money.
Easy.
I'll just take your clients.
And now you're seeing, for now, me in a job where it's just like so many different departments, and I'm just like, if I'm having to do a job that's in that department, I'm not supposed to be doing it. Why? And so when I'm going to do like a review, I'll also be able to be like, also I do extra X, Y, Z that's not even really in my job description. So
and with the results, I've done this, which has resulted in this. That's major reviews.
So let's feel like just take account of what you've been doing that you're not required to be doing.
Yeah. And
just use that to be like, I think I'm overqualified even just for what I'm doing. I'm doing way more.
Yeah.
So I think there's that, just even in, but also there's the boundaries you set within the workplace. I think by virtue of just being able to be nice, you see how you're telling everybody morning, you say hi, you're generally okay with people. I think them understanding that this is just like a professional work interaction. I think beyond here, especially if I've made it clear, or maybe you haven't, but maybe you should make it clear that this is just a work scenario. I find it weird sometimes when someone comes and like downloads their woes to you, and like
in
you're busy.
The office,
I'm always just like,
hours.
The organization brought us together, so I feel like you've had people, a support group outside this office. You know what I'm saying? I can't be the person now at who you found.
Yeah.
It can't. Like, I'm always just like, what are the odds? So that's how I look at it. It's I think that's like workplace relationships are pretty dicey because you don't want to come off as just like rude.
And cool,
but at the same time, I'm just like, we're just here to work. I'm here just to do my job, get my check, just leave. I didn't come here for all these other things. It's pretty, it's a dicey one, like try and navigate at work. I always feel like but you've always had like, you've worked like with women like for the most part.
I didn't initially. The first agency I worked at, it was, my immediate boss was a woman and everyone else was a man. And
how was that experience? Like, how did you
I was happy to leave.
But how are you able to maintain?
I just was very like sit at my desk and just get the work. Like I was very.
Of course, guys will step up and walk to you and just be like, "Hey, how you doing, Edna?
I don't think I have like the most smiley, friendly face. So
you're still paying though, so guys are still gonna come through.
No.
Okay.
They used to. I was just or you just wear your headphones. You know, like you just body language.
So now
I'm not really.
That's me.
I'm not really here for all that. I did not enjoy it.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, it's that thing of you wanna have like a professional relationship with this person.
Yeah.
But also there's the professional boundary part of it. It's not just like I'm an open book.
So I mean, once I think I even told you, once something crossed it, like I think last year. So they tried to make it be just more than work. And I just never replied to the text. I see them at the office. It's just I'll say hi from afar. You know, just.
You step back.
Like, just please understand now here. You're moving funny.
But then there's when we were doing the research, there was social relationships where it extends beyond your original connection through work or a shared activity. So that then you're taking the step to socialize this person as a friend. So you meet someone at work, but then you invite them for drinks.
Yeah.
Or to your house for dinner or something like that. So in such interactions, like what do you usually do? Are you the type to like approach people and be like, hey, would you like to, do you view the office as a place to make friends?
There's this camaraderie that comes with, especially when you guys are experienced, not the best things in the office. So maybe like and this is my previous like maybe employment, so you guys just don't like something the director said that day, so you guys maybe over lunch, that's all you're talking about. So just in sharing like, you know, those experiences, since it's a common thing, a shared one, you end up like forming like a community, like a support group in a sense about we get to talk about all these things that are not working out in the office. Over time that becomes you're able not to share about your work. So I feel like it also depends on how the culture in the office. I feel like where I'm at, it's varied. I think even there it was people kind of the same age. I feel like if you're more or less the same age, you're able to experience. So now for me to tell you, hey, let's go for drinks, it can work because we're kind of like the same age. But if someone is like, a mother with kids, and then I have not even nothing about that world, it's going to be hard for us to sit down and relate. So I feel like it's the closer you are in age, you're able to have the same experiences.
And then also with time, you start to see like other people's interests.
Yeah.
Like, for example, pre-pandemic, you would meet someone from the office at like an event, and then that's not like, it opens a door where you can be like, oh, you like this artist, and then now it becomes a thing.
So yeah, as long as you have like common interests and
it's mutual, not
exactly
insisting.
Yeah, let's be doing this thing now. If it's once in a while, it's fun. It's always exciting. Maybe you've gone to a club, there's the last person you expected to see, and then you see them. It's always a bit exciting. But I feel like if you share common interests, it's a bit easier, to kind of interact outside the office.
Okay. Yeah. We can't talk about society without talking about social media. So I think we can talk a bit about relationships on social media, how like you build and maintain them. Do you have any friends who you've actually met online, like strictly online, and you've become friends with? Because I don't. I can't think of anyone who I've met online who wasn't already like running in my social circles that I'd have met regardless.
Yeah.
And then until we became friends and have stayed friends. I don't. But people really...
I think I've seen it, and I'm just like, it's something I'd want to hear people's experience of.
I also know you and social media.
Exactly.
By the time you make a friend, yeah.
Thanks. So I think for me, it's the same thing. It's always been real life encounters that now we end up being, now we interact now on social media. It's never been we met on social media. It used to happen a lot maybe when I used to do like my podcast. So I'd have like people DMing me being like, oh, this thing really helped me, da 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 da. It was not more of me just being, responding to like someone appreciating what I've done. And then from that, I end up seeing them somewhere at a gig and they're like, oh yeah, I'm so and so. I'm like, what? Mad.
I love that.
You get, so for me, that's like a thing of when it's someone who actually appreciated your work, your effort, and they say it helped them, and then you get to meet them. For me, that's the experiences I've had. So for maybe I've uploaded a set or I've done something, and then they come up to me to be like, oh yeah, I've experienced and I've enjoyed that because this is someone in real time telling me whatever you talked about actually like touched me. My last guest for the podcast was Sana Abstract, and how it came about was I think Kirby had posted something about someone who had passed away. I liked her comment, and so I just went, I think I liked the comment, and then I went to her DM and I just texted up just like, oh yeah, whatever you said was really powerful, I liked that. She responded, and then we just started talking, and then I'm just like, oh yeah, but I have a podcast, would you like to come? And that's it. I feel like we would not have ever interacted or met if it wasn't just for one of us, social media. So that being my last guest, and even just the topics we got to talk about, me even finding out like, she's from around here. I just thought she lives in the UK. So even just the odds, and I thought she was a dude. So when we linked to record the podcast, no, it's even just in the words. Out. When I saw her, no, it's when she called me, because I think I sent her my number. So she called me on the day of to be like, hey, where are we linking? I was like, what? So I even told her. So now I thought like, you're a dude. Quite the way you text, like you say bro a lot. Like, so I'm just like, you expect a guy to be calling you bro more than anything.
Yeah.
Now I don't think about it. I think it's a thing.
Yeah.
That was my experience of like social media, actually getting to interact with someone and realizing that. But I think you see it's from the topic she commented, I was able to be like, okay, we're kind of like like-minded.
You get to find a lot of like-minded people.
Yeah, so I think for me that's where it's been at. But for you, how has it been?
I have not made any friends like exclusively off
like even like
media.
When you post like when you've done like a shoot or anything, and then someone has commented like, let's leave guys out of this one, like shorties who have like, oh my god, I like I feel like it's easier for girls to be genuinely being like, oh my god, I like what you did.
There's definitely people who, I think it just makes it hard also because when like of the whole pandemic, but there's definitely people who we've had repeated conversations come up, like they'll post something and I'll be like, oh wow, or I'll post something and I'll be like, oh, they relate.
Yeah,
we have back and forth, but I've not taking that next step of like actually interacting with them in person and then, you know, becoming friends with them.
Yeah.
So,
sometimes it's also they might, and then if it's not shade to anyone, but you see them on social media, they're like, oh man, they're so dope, they're so cool, and then you interact with them like in real life.
Conversation there is the
You're
second
just
you
like,
move to
whoa.
WhatsApp. Yeah.
You're like, damn. Not even actually get to meet them in person. You're just like, there's no depth. Like, you're just cool on social media, but there's nothing much to you. So I've always felt like I try not to judge, but also try and maintain like an open mind in terms of people build personas on social media. So they try and fit a certain book script to appeal, to get the followers, to get the likes. But in real life, they're really not about anything that they actually post or even talk about. So I always try and make sure that I don't judge you really upon what I'm seeing on social media. Let me give you that human interaction, and then from there I'll be able to know, okay, fine, you're this type of person. Yeah.
One thing I don't like about social media, like relationships, is the way these days there's no like boundaries in terms of you can't have an opinion on social media and someone disagrees with it without it being the end of the world.
Facts.
Like you can literally just say, and Nella was talking about this on her new video. She's like, she stopped even tweeting. She just retweets likes, because she's like, she'll literally say something like, I like oranges, and then someone will be like, how do you not like bananas? Bananas are the best fruit on earth. And it's like,
it's my opinion.
Like you can have an opinion on social media.
Yeah.
And disagree with someone else, and it's okay. You can have an opinion and change it once you learn more information, and it's okay. Like,
true.
That gets to me.
I see it, and it's especially with comments, it can be something you genuinely just thought of or wanted to express, but then there's someone who finds Twitter is like, it's crazy. Someone finds a way of like being disrespectful just for the comedic like value of it, you know what I'm saying? Like just trying to be funny, but it'll be so disrespectful. They don't even care what it's gonna do to you. I know I did it, so don't even. It's going to be hella disrespectful. It's going to be a diss to you. So, and you're dying. Nifala. So,
okay,
that's how I look at it. It can be.
Sorry.
Are you good? You talk then.
I'm good. Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm done.
No, just finish the point.
You can't have an opinion because sometimes people just look for something to be like, I'm funny, or it was funny for me to say this thing, and there's no point
annoying.
to it.
It's hella annoying. And then on online relationships also, there's being catfished. I've never been catfished, but there's people, I remember, I can't pick a name, but I know there's people who've been catfishes that like maybe even you followed them, like, you know, those sort of scenarios, and then someone was trying to meet up with them. I remember on Twitter there's a couple of people who have been exposed as catfishes.
And you see, that's my thing. And aside, because you see, I've never been on Tinder, and so there's also
Twitter.
Even Tinder.
Oh, okay.
And that experience of I never see, I can't understand it. Like, you agree to meet with this stranger, someone you've never met, just purely off vibes. I've always been like, I salute the people who are actually able to do it and follow through with it.
As a woman.
Exactly. I'm always just like, you don't know what you're walking into. Even as a guy, like, you don't know what you're walking into. Because Juicy, I was thinking that, what was I saying? Was it Jana in the news? Is it a woman who stabbed like 3 guys and then drank their blood? You get so anyway.
You don't know what you're walking into.
You don't know what you're walking into. So I commend the people who actually go through it and do it. But there's I need people who have like relationships and, like, you know, even get married.
You've never met.
You know, someone is just like, I don't understand that concept yet. And I can't speak on it because I haven't really experienced it that way.
But it's crazy how powerful social media is.
It's crazy. But also there's I don't know, you might be in a relationship with someone, but you're like strangers, like on social media, you know what I'm saying?
I relate.
You get, like, it's just, you'll post something, there's no reaction from it, there's I don't know, there's just
I low-key prefer that. Of like, I post, but my boyfriend doesn't have to be in my comments of every single picture.
No, that one for sure.
Or like in my comments, or I don't know.
It's like if you know, you know.
Yeah.
But also there's a flip side to it. There's also someone else out there who's just, if I post, you better be there. You better like it.
You know?
So there's that. I feel like it's just depending on whatever conversations you've had also. Even just family members sometimes I feel like they kind of like, they'll be up in your social media, like even the likes and the comments. And I'm always just like, I mean, so you're at home, you can tell me this, you can tell me you liked the picture. You don't have to feel the pressure of actually to participate. But yeah, I feel like social media is a place where it can make or break a lot of how you perceive someone and how you get to experience them in real life. I just prefer meeting and interacting with people. Outside this panoramic, there's the real life interactions that work better for me. Yeah, I'm able to gauge someone, I'm able to read you better as opposed to a retweet.
Across the screen,
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Sorry, it's just that
the lady.
moment, yeah.
So, we need to discuss social issues because those are a big part of society.
Okay.
Social issues.
Just give me a serious look, so it's just like...
Oh, sorry. A group of like common problems. So like in society today, there's something that we are striving to solve.
Yeah.
The biggest one, or the first one that comes to mind, is climate.
I was going to say mental health. But
I say climate because well, we live, like, you know,
no,
first
facts,
we live,
facts,
we survive. So, yeah, like, what are some of the social issues that you think you feel you're passionate about, or you feel, okay, I don't want to say passionate about because we're going to do social responsibility, but let's say some of the social issues that you think are prevalent today.
They're not being like discussed, or I just
or not
feel
being
like
discussed enough. I say climate.
I'd say now mental health.
Inequality and exclusion, be it on a racial basis, on economic disparity, colorism, just all that.
The gentrification of people,
Yeah. And all the effects that come with this.
Yeah.
And then I wanted us to talk about when you feel like you've experienced this, or you've seen someone go through it.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen when it comes to like the disparities, financial disparities, economic disparities, and its impact on the quality of people's education. I feel like as you grow up and you go to different institutions, and then you see the choices that are available to people after, like you see the choices that are available to people after high school.
Yeah.
After uni, you do a master's. I feel like it really shows how economic disparities limit the quality of education that you can have access to, regardless of your potential. There'll be the smartest people. They'll just have to go. They could be so smart and you have a passion for this, but you'll just have to go do the course you are called for because your parents can't afford to pay for the thing.
You know what? It's made me think of, and something I always wonder, like, let me not say won't, but is the assumption that, and the rhetoric is, a kid born in a particular background, let's say not like the most advantaged financially, will stay in that cycle because they don't have the finances to actually empower themselves to get out of that situation. And so I agree with what you're saying. It's more of, and you find these kids like end up really having to work twice as hard, like 5, 10 times as hard as anybody else to try and get out of their situation.
Yet on the flip side,
but there's also like a ceiling to how far they can go, because if now they're required to like go abroad to further like their education, even here, just to like get to a good like uni, because I see it like guys who work hard through primary school, high school to get the best grades, and then when it gets to get into uni, even what you're called for, what you actually wanted to do, is still being limited. There's a cap to it. So maybe there's a kid like in Garissa, the probability of him being able to get to med school here in Nairobi,
the steps he has to take versus someone
and it's
in
the
Nairobi.
same A you got like standard, maybe it's a 90 or 80% A. A kid in Nairobi has a
middle class kid gets it handed to them. Like they both work hard, but the level of hard work is different.
It's different. It's different, and what the opportunities afforded to them are so different still. So it's not it's something I've seen. It's true.
Are there any other like social issues that you've gotten to see in real life or that you know people have experienced?
I think when it comes to, especially like mental health, and when it touches to matters addiction, so you find maybe people like in like the rural uko like out of town
ancestral homes.
in their homesteads. Those guys, when they experience like any mental health issues which now ties to their addictions, it's kind of left to being like, that's how they are. It's their choice. Let them be. And then when you come to like more suburban places, there's the access to them to get treatment is a bit easier because the parents can afford it, so they're actually able to recover. But people uko, it's harder for them to get treatment and to be helped, so they end up living and they're just disregarded as huyu anakuanga tu hivyo tumwache.
Really
Same thing with kids who are born like with Down syndrome or with like autism. Uko mashinani, it's taken as it's a curse. No one interacts with them. I've seen like clips where the kid lives like in a kennel like a dog. Yeah. And someone else who has Down syndrome or like cerebral palsy. Yeah. And they live like an animal. But you come to someone else like in a well-off family, they'll go get physio, get treatment. Yeah, you know. So I feel like there's these challenges people normally have, but they're not treated the same way, just depending on, again, your availability and your access to these resources. They end up suffering.
I mean, first of all, capitalism is just a scam because
And
I
that's
feel like
it.
economic disparity just comes with so many things. Even like police brutality,
Yeah.
economic disparity.
Yeah.
Like everything just points back
Mm-hmm.
to this one thing that doesn't even exist. We made it up. Like we literally made it up from scratch.
I mean, we used to become like, even with just cowrie shells, I'll give you like a couple, you give me your honey, you know what I'm saying? It's the same type of thing, but it's
Economic
changed a lot.
systems, Yeah.
Mine, and it's something, even just by my interactions with you, is just how patriarchy is like just portrayed and how it's like carried through
Get
society.
me fucking started.
That's something that if it wasn't for you, I'd be not blind to it, but I wouldn't have the time to actually sit back and really, really think about it and just to understand how it's affected people, how people have lived through it, and how so many people have been affected by it, but just because they don't speak up, you don't think they've experienced it, you know what I'm saying? So it's things that I think it's taken me hearing more about it to really care about it and to actually be able to be like, as a guy, there's certain things I can't really be about. I can't even be, say I'm friends with you because now I've seen the type of mindset that you have, and it just,
Trash.
it doesn't agree with me anymore. So you become passive, because guys, I feel like sometimes guys become passive because but they are my homies, so it's okay. I mean, I'll let it slide, but I think you need to be more responsible and be like, just call your people out.
Responsible.
Yeah, just be like, nah, have a stand for something. And it's okay if your homie is just like, no, it's just, if I don't agree with it, I don't agree. If it's disrespectful, it's disrespectful. So yeah, I think those are things I've seen, even as guys, there are a lot of things we make cool or accept, but they're really not.
And that's a part of social responsibility that falls on every individual.
It's an individual thing, yeah.
So social responsibility is an ethical theory in which individuals are accountable for fulfilling their civic duty, and their actions of an individual must benefit the whole of society.
In my mind, I'm just thinking, sorry, go.
In your mind, you're just thinking?
So?
No, just go.
When you just said, I'm thinking like, also, like, I can't be too sure, because I remember when you watched that documentary about Martin Luther King, like, all these things like he did behind the scenes, but he did something.
You know.
You get, so there's that also.
Putting people on a pedestal never
works. But
pedestal never works. Just fall right off it.
So yeah, I think it's do the good that you can do by virtue of your own values. And I think what do you do to be socially responsible? Like what it could be for me, for example. Yeah.
Okay, for you, do you look at
I think I need to know the example here.
Ask a question.
Oh, okay.
The Sustainable Development Goals.
Yes.
Is it something that you're like aware of, interested in, or is it like, how do you look at social responsibility?
I'm aware of, and I'd be lying if I said that you have done steps to actually try and do anything about any of them. But I think it's I need to be more active and more, what's the word?
Involved?
Intentional.
Oh yeah.
And just actually looking at them and being like, okay, fine, this is the way I can actually be able to help. Whatever part I can play to help this goal and achieve it, cool, I'll do my part with it.
I agree. I think it's about being involved in however way you can. I feel like with the internet, it's made it so much easier.
True.
You don't necessarily have to be physically anywhere. You can, educate yourself. That's a way to be socially responsible. Share resources. Talk about it with your friends. Donate. Share the donation link. Like, there's so many things you
ways you can do it. No, I mean, I think even just challenge myself. Like, maybe every month, just like do something about just a goal. I think a goal a month it's sustainable.
Yeah.
So that's upon me. I think that one you've made me.
Yeah, I feel like there's things you can do just even on a personal level, even when it comes to something like the environment.
Yeah.
The environment and climate action. It's like, first of all, it's 2021. If you're still littering, shame on you.
I know.
Like, shame on you.
There are days.
That's like...
I won't even lie to you. Like, I've got like a wrapper of gum and I didn't have anywhere to trash it. I just put it in my pocket. So whenever I'm doing my laundry, I go through my pockets. I'm like, why am I having like all these pieces? But I'm like, I'd rather that
then
as opposed to like, I normally I feel a way about that.
There's still, even though corporations and those massive companies are the ones who are the bulk, who can do the bulk of the change because they're the ones. Part. But you can still, on your little level, you're not responsible for everything, but you can recycle, upcycle type thing, reuse your glass containers, whatever.
Yeah. No, that's when you challenge me.
Yeah. I'm very passionate about the quality education goal. I feel like it's very sad that I haven't been able to volunteer as much or do anything, because most of the things that, like the clubs like Vitabu Vietu or Mirror of Hope, the activities or like mentorship programs are in person. So it's like, it's frustrating because now in a pandemic, these kids are already disadvantaged.
Yeah.
Now they're disadvantaged further, and you really have no access to
them,
helping them without putting them at risk. So
I think it's also like a way maybe you can is like to figure out a way how do you actually able to, whatever purpose or however it was being executed is just like, because now things have really changed, is how can you
these
innovate?
Organizations have had to really switch it up, and more now they're calling for financial assistance more than anything.
But even aside from that, it can be another way of you thinking back to be like, how can we innovate this experience to suit the times that we're actually in? And that would be your contribution to
the organization.
Yeah.
I love how people, like young people, are actually doing it. Like, do you know about Food for Education? You know about food? It's a Kenyan girl. She actually won I don't know if you win the prize, but she was the Global Citizen of 2019.
Okay, mad.
She has this organization called Food for Education, where she feeds. She's built systems where they feed kids in public schools in rural areas. So you get like a watch with like some coins, you tap it, and then you get food. You've never heard of it?
That is insane.
Yeah, so, yeah.
That is insane.
I love that people are actually doing that.
I think for me then it would be, because I watched this thing it was on Complex, but it was Jaden Smith, and he has this thing, the water box. He has his water company, but now he has this thing called a water box, and it goes like to like hoods and just like wellness places or communities where they don't have like really access to clean water. I think that's a thing, if it's in terms of just ensuring kids have like just clean water to drink.
Sanitation is a big...
I think for me that would be something I'd actually want to be able to tap into, because water is like everything.
Yeah, clean water and sanitation. So quality education, zero hunger. So I love like what Food for Education does. And then also for me, clean water and sanitation, but more from the menstrual hygiene.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you see, I feel like also just from my job and having to work with these like female hygiene companies, you see the types of organizations that approach them. Yeah, like there's a lot of things that you can do if you even just look up like these places like Food for Education, Vietu, Binti. There's so many people who are doing things that you can support remotely.
But I remember there's something I used to tell my dad even just growing up was, how comes we don't have like shelters in Kenya. You see, like how, like even in the States, it's like it's a hall where everybody who doesn't have, like, you can just go and sleep for the night.
And
You
there's a
get
soup
like,
kitchen, you'll
you
get
get
some
food,
yeah.
you get clothes, you get to shower, and then you dip. And he told me this one thing, where you gonna get the land to build that thing, like in. That's always been in the back of my mind, like if it's something I can actually do and make sure that there's a shelter or shelters where people can come, get clothes, leave like fresh clothes. I don't care what you do with them, but as long as I gave you fresh clothes, there's somewhere you could come and sleep, eat. The number of women who like impregnated like on the streets and end up having to raise an entire family on the streets, and they still don't have, the kids end up having to beg, and then now that's just becomes a cycle of life. They don't even have time to think about going to school, or what. This kid is born with a talent, a unique talent into this world, but they'll end up just doing this thing just to make ends meet or just to survive.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, there should be places where they can go get access to, if it's creative facilities, they can draw, paint, whatever way they can actually do to express themselves. I feel like that is something I'd actually want to be able to do. So
yeah, there's the bigger things, but then there's also the smaller
things that
parts
you can
of
do.
social
Yeah,
responsibility. For example, sending this complaint
facts.
to the Communication Authority of Kenya, because
It's the right
can't-
thing. It's your responsibility as people. But you said you can't?
you can't. I even forgot.
Sorry. Come back, you can't.
Oh, you can't allow people they're literally like apologists. Just let them skate by, because that's how we normalize things that are not normal, and
Yeah.
that should never be allowed.
True. Oh, no, that one for sure. Even the small bits is just being able to call out like your friends who stand for certain things. I feel that's your small way of being able to like nip something in the bud, because if they continue with that thought and then they grow older with that thought, normalizing certain things,
Raising then their kids with
in
this
that,
thought.
not to say that you're authority of what's right and what's wrong, but if it's something that you all socially we
there's
all know
ethics,
this is
yeah,
not like a
values.
thing, so let's not continue with this thing, so just stop it. That's one way I think it's just being able to stand for, especially just stand for something. And I feel like cool, there's 10 commandments, but I always say commandments are, it's something in your bone that you also feel this shit is not right. Like no one has to tell me, no book has to tell me this thing, it can't, this thing there and go. That's what something is, I think, ethically, and that's like inside of you, that's your integrity. You uphold certain things. So if you know you can't go and say the same statement to your mom, then I don't know how you can go to social media and say it. If you can't say it to your sister, your auntie, whoever it is, same thing even like with.
If you wouldn't do it even to your boy, that's what someone was saying. Like, you'll argue with your boy, you wouldn't push him off the 12th floor.
Facts.
But because it's a woman, you feel like
you can. Yeah, I think it's. There's certain ways we need to start. It's 2021, like you said. Things need to start changing, and women need to be less scared of interacting with men because of what other men have done. You know what I'm saying? As men, we need to be able to ensure that women feel safe.
Yeah, I think that's a better approach.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that just for this now. I was just saying women need to be less scared of men, because men have taken the steps to ensure that they've created a society where women and environment women feel safe.
I still think you should say it the other way around. Men should create a space where women feel safe, so that women are less scared, rather than women need to be less scared, because I feel like
I was like, it's whatever the statement I ended it with, that's the start of this whole process. It's just like men, we need to be able to keep each other in check. Exactly. We need to be able to foster environments and where I don't think it should be something we're talking about until someone has been pushed off. Especially
having a back and forth.
It should be, we've already done it's all these boys clubs, all these places where men go and sit, and I want to say it's culture that is eroding. I feel like if you want to go back, not way back, but there's a way Kitambo men used to be able to sit in a kiama, depending on what community you come from, and these things are instilled in you from when you're a young boy to when you're a man, and even you're meeting with other men, there's certain things that you were told you're not allowed to treat a woman in this such a way, you're not allowed to do this to a woman, and that was enforced across. But I think over time, because we start to make excuses as to why we can't uphold these things as men, and I think it's crazy. It's patriarchy is like, it's mad, and I think
scary.
We've normalized it, and it should be something we're normalizing.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
So yeah.
Oh.
I think social responsibility was the last thing I want to talk about. So
I think for me, yeah, I think we've touched across everything that society has and how you can actually interact with society. My thing would be also just calling out on just men in general, just to be able to be more responsible in the environments you create for the women in your lives, and uphold and maintain the respect and the decency with the women in your lives. I think for me that's it, period. In terms of just interacting in society, I think as men, let's just make sure that respect women, take care of them, protect them.
Just be a decent human. It's wrong. It's I don't even know what to say. But yeah.
I think for me that's it, yeah. That's been episode 6.
One more episode before we're done with the season.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you next week.